Okay, so today's podcast will be about just me talking. Basically, I'm sitting on the bed and I'm thinking of things to talk about. So the Olympics was happened, and the Olympics was tainted because of the opening ceremony and was anti-chaos, but and that really affected even me watching the games because I didn't like that. But did you know that the history of the Olympics goes further back than Christianity? It goes back like 4,000 years, and then Christianity is like 2,200 years. And the reason why we know it's 2,200 years more or less, it's because of the Roman calendar. We are living in the Western world is using in the year 2024, so that's Christianity. But Islam have Islam, yeah, have a different calendar, and their year is 150 54, and then we have the Hebrew calendar that's 5,500 years. So just some things about how people use calendars, and it's just fascinating to think that the Olympics the Olympic Games goes way back more than Christianity. It's like we almost think Christianity is was here since the time being, but no, it wasn't. It was there's actually some stuff that are older than Christianity, like Islam, not Islam, like Hinduism, Buddhism, um, the Olympic Games, paganism, paganism, yeah, something, and then we discover, then only Christianity comes in. So it's wild to think like that, but yeah. So I'm gonna start doing this more regularly with the podcast and the YouTubing. I'm just gonna find out a method how to do it on multiple platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and then also the podcast will be on Spotify, iTunes, Tik, and other podcast platforms like, yeah. So I'm just figuring it out, but I wanna start doing it more regularly with this, and it will. I feel it's gonna be difficult just to speak like for 30 minutes straight on basically on topics and current affairs, past events, future plans for myself, for companies, for governments. So I will have to start reading more and taking in information, but also process that information so that I can do a good output. But yeah, as time goes on, I will get better at it. Hopefully, I'm gonna speak more elegantly. My pronunciation, my vocabulary will grow because of this, and it will teach me a skill, a fundamental, important skill to speak and to communicate. Because ask and you shall be receive, and so many people don't even know how to speak properly or have a good conversation. So by doing this, I will speak, learn how to speak, learn how to communicate better with people, share my emotions, share my thoughts more elegantly so that people can understand me, but also so that I can have a catalog of podcasts so that I can maybe one day work at a radio station and earn money. But also I need to learn how to monetize this podcast, and as I'm gonna push this to different platforms like Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, all of that other platforms, and I have a good viewership. I could easily monetize this and make money, but yeah, that will take a few years probably. Yeah, but because what's been happening in my life. So one thing is I'm gonna buy a ukulele this month, and I'm gonna probably buy some stuff on TikTok as well, just to for training and clothing. But yeah, I wanna buy the Lords colors, cricket Lords, and they have this color yellow and maroon. So I'm gonna buy that tie, and I'm gonna start just learning to to bow a tie, to make it not tie, because I never learned how to do it. So I'm gonna buy a tie and learn how to tie. Tie, is that how you say it? Yeah, probably. And then I'm going to also buy a cricket ball, the so that I can learn how to bowl cricket ball. Yeah, so to bowl, and I'm gonna really start using my income, my salary, to buy equipment and buy stuff, so that I can develop skill sets that will improve myself, that will make me more confident, because I believe you need to be competent, and if you lack competency, that's how you become vulnerable, and you become a target for the very people that want to take you down. So by having skill sets, different skill sets, and learning how to make a income, you will be less independent on systems and bureaucracy. Be, but this system that is just so outdated and so brings out the worst in people. Like only psychopaths and sociopaths would probably end up on top of those systems, because that's what that systems require and provokes or brings. Like if you're part of the system, because of that system that you are in, you will find that you have to behave a certain way, and that behavior is best suited for sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissistic people, because they will be the ones that's on top, because they can be manipulative, they can smile, they can, yeah. So I want to get like out of that system, just because there's so much bureaucracy. I don't know if that word is right, but yeah, and so much unethical behavior that you, and everyone say behave ethical, behave professional, but nobody does, because that's not who we are. We're not meant to behave like that. That's not human nature. That's not, or maybe we need to be trained, but come on, we can't train human instinct, and we just feel like a robot, like you just living day by day the same thing, and you like in a cycle, and it's just bad for for your mind, for your emotions, and even for your physical world, just to be in that routine, that same thing, like fake smiling, fake relationships, and then you have to monitor how you're gonna behave, or how you're gonna interact with people, or it's just so stupid. But yeah, it's the money system. It's what the system makes, that you incompetent, you don't have a skill sets to live. Like you can't make fire, you can't make a shelter, you can't hunt for food, you can't gather food. So you don't know if plants are safe to consume, eat. You don't know what plants are for medicine. You don't know what plants are for food. So That's why we became so incompetent. That's why I want to become competent, so that I can know how to look at the land, see what I can do with it. Animals, know the usage of animals, uses of plants, so that I can become competent and less dependent on stupid systems that are meant to keep us limited. But yeah, money is a system that's keeping us so limited. But at least with money, things are going lower and lower because mass production, so things get cheaper every year. Even though the value of money gets less every year, and things get cheaper every year, so it's keeping on pace with that. But yeah, at least you can buy more stuff online. You have access to buy more stuff online. So like I bought a stand or and a microphone so that I can do podcasting now. And I'm gonna do more podcasts. But the other thing is, I want more stuff like drum equipment and clay pottery, watch repairs and watchmaking, and paint, how to pencils to draw. I'm gonna buy all of that stuff and then just learn these skills, how to do it, learn how to paint, learn how to do clay pottery, so that I can get a vast skill set, so that I can become competent and less dependent on systems that are meant to bring out the worst in you. Yeah. So a personal thing is, I got this tattoo. Okay, we can. How do you see it now? I got the yin and yang tattoo, and for me that means basically there's good and bad in every situation, and there's good and bad in every person. You just have to look at it, and when you go to good times, enjoy it, take it in, and learn from it, and use that good time to prepare for the bad time that's coming, so that you stronger when the bad time is coming and you can get out of it quicker. Because there's always good times and there's always bad times, and in you have all the answers. Either you're gonna be in the darkness, or you're gonna look towards the light, and that be your guide. When you're in the light, don't be the negative person in the room. Don't taint the water. Don't make the water dirty. Just become hold that in, so that you don't affect the situation, but you add to the happiness, that you add to the positivity, instead of bringing it down. Yeah, and that's what that too means. Maybe I'm gonna get another one on my right arm, but I'll see how that goes. And then this podcast, I will post on YouTube. So if you wanna check the video where I saw my tattoo, the yin and yang tattoo, you can go see it on YouTube. And hopefully I will have another podcast where I will show my other tattoos. Yeah, that I will get there. Yeah. So let's talk about the Project 25. So if I just recently discovered this Project 25, it's about in USA they wanna do something. So it's a part of government, Project 25. So if you guys have information and links that you can share about that, you can comment on my YouTube channel, and so that I can learn more about Project 25. And then also this the Project 2030, Vision 2030, like the UN. I'm gonna start reading that so that I can have more information about that. And I'm gonna use more AI in the next few months to gain more knowledge and to gain more current affairs topics like news, positive, accurate news, and less biased news, and so that I can get the left side and the right side of the news. And I will be speaking more about topics that I'm interested, like welding, welding, pottery, clay work, um, woodwork, painting, drawing, acting, singing, dancing, playing musical instruments. Like maybe if I had my music instruments, I would have played, but yeah, I'm not gonna play now, or maybe I should pause and then get the instrument. Yeah, but I'm probably gonna still see how far I can talk, maybe for a few hours, or few minutes. If I run out of things to talk about, I will probably get the instrument and start playing. But for now, let me talk about the Venus Project. So if you guys don't know about the Venus Project, this is about when it speaks about we need to change the economy, and how the economy needs to become, instead of a resource-based economy, or yeah, and it speaks about an economy that doesn't use money, and that have these circular cities, and in the center you will have like a supercomputer that has a database center that just gathers data about the city and understands how to make the city more efficient and effective. And that's really cool. So if you guys want to check out the Venus Project, it's about Jacob Fresno. He's a multi-talented guy that is really clever. He's an architect, designer, a philosopher. You can say he's really clever, and he's dead now, but he was like 19, in his 90s when he died. But that's a really interesting idea and a concept that we need to look at, and maybe one day that is where the world is headed, because the great reset, what are we resetting? The money systems, and we be more slave? What will be our value, our lives, our bodies? And is that better than the money system or worse? So we need to start thinking about this. Are we gonna head into a good direction, or are we gonna go to head into a bad direction? But we need to figure out the best thing as a society, as countries, because we are headed we are in a transition already. Like there's so many things happening, like Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza, and they are having attacks on other Islamic countries. So this could easily spill into World War III. And what happens during World War III, the post, maybe this is what's supposed to happening before World War III and during World War III, and what's gonna happen after World War III. Are we gonna get a new world system? So in World War One we had the League of Nations. After World War One we had the League of Nations. After World War Two we had the UN, the United Nations. World War Three, there's a few things happening. You have the Abraham Accord, you have the Pope that is uniting religions all around the world, and then you have NATO and Russia. So these and more unified armies, more unified governments. So the healthcare with COVID, And also one thing that we can look at is before World War I, we had the Spanish flu. Yeah, and then we had World War I. So COVID and maybe war after COVID. We can label this World War III, but if we are not confident and if we are not aware of how history is repeating itself and the patterns, then we are doomed to repeat it. So maybe I'm seeing patterns that doesn't exist, or maybe there is something like Spanish flu, World War I, COVID, World War III. So you need to look out for those stuff, but or that could affect global events like Ukraine, Russia did affect global global events like the food industry, like a lot of grain, a lot of um, fertilization for the crops comes from Russia or Ukraine, some other country that is in the world. So crops and food supply will be affected. That was one of the stories of the Ukraine war. We didn't see that happen, so luckily we avoided that. Is it because the media is more open? Is it because people are more communicative and people are more aware of the games that are being played? Yeah, and then also look at some other stuff like um this thing about Trump back in probably November as the US president, and then we'll have Trump. Yeah, in South Africa we have the GNU, the General National Unity thing. So we could see something similar with the USA election now, where Trump and RFK Jr. teamed up and will create this news. So there's a lot of similarities between South Africa and USA. Yeah, and we have to start looking at that also. Yeah. How long? This is now 22 minutes. Wow. It's really hard speaking like I do take I do watch a lot of YouTube videos and I do watch a lot of content, but when it comes to doing a podcast, like to push out the information, it just is not there yet. So I'm still gonna learn how to do this better, how to sound better, how to pronounce words better, how to how to have clear thoughts and information that is flowing, that makes sense, that you can understand, and it explains more to you. But I'm still learning how to do all of that, and hopefully I'm gonna get better by next year. Yeah, and I have to learn that this shouldn't be so serious. It shouldn't be so business. So like it's a job. It's not a job for me. I'm totally doing it for free. I'm doing it for fun, so that I can learn how to speak, learn how to do facial expressions, learn how to use my hands, and just get passionate. And maybe my facial expression is really, I need to work on that. I need to learn how to be more look alive on camera and be more acting and more spontaneous, and hopefully learn if I move my hand in front of the microphone, what sound effects will that have. And then I need to learn um how to keep the camera angle on vertically or horizontally, and for what purposes, further back or closer. All of those stuff I need to look at, and then I will gain more um experience in videoing, in video editing, video filming, audio, and just how to communicate, like a different way of communicating when I do a podcast and when I'm doing an interview. And an interview is different than a podcast, or commentating on an event, like, or stand-up comedy. This will just be like expanding and stacking up this knowledge about just simply doing a podcast. I will expand into all of that different ways of speaking, of communicating, and doing speeches, like simple public speaking, like a podcast speech or a podcast talk is totally different than a speech that you do on stage. And then how do you do a stand-up comedy show is totally different than a speech. Then yeah, and then a interview should be more interactive. It's just not me doing a speech and speaking to one person and they listening. So that skill sets, all of those different skill sets, I will need to learn, and then would like to apply it. Maybe get in people here in that can interview me or other stuff. I'm gonna push to get to at least the 30-minute mark, and then I'm gonna see how further I can speak for that. But for now, I'm pretty easy with this idea that I have going about. Yeah, how to use my just speaking, different skill sets of speaking, and then also with the writing. I'm currently gonna post today, Saturday, my blog post, and I'm gonna push this year to actually get to 100 blog posts posted for the year. I'm now by 50 podcasts, 50 blog posts, sorry. So I have 50 blog posts posted already. So I need 50 more for the year, then I would reach that goal. And that will be, I have to learn how to put links, how to add videos, pictures, writing, reading. That will push my reading, writing. That will push my knowledge of programming. Hopefully I will learn some programming skills with the blog post that I post, but also with this learn video skills and speaking skills and audio skills, so that my thing can be better and more professional and more qualified, like Theo Van, the comedian who was on Joe Rogan, who interviewed Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump and RFK Jr., and who's a stand-up comedian. He started in his kitchen, and he's now big. So if you can start in your kitchen, you can end up like that. Also, Hershey's, the chocolate company guys, started creating the Hershey's chocolate bars in their kitchen, and now it's a $1 billion company. So start in your house, and you go big or go home. Well, you're already home, so you might as well go big and make something from this. Like, I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna build a catalog, build a quantity, and as the quantity grows, I will gain quality, and I will gain the skills to get to quality podcasts, get to quality YouTubing, so that I can get it. But I need to build first quantity, and that will be to produce a week 2 podcasts, live stream podcast videos, so that I can build that quantity and eventually this quality the quality will come because the quantity is there, the effort that I put in will be there, the training, the discipline will be there. And the if all the podcasts are 30 minutes long or to an hour, then I get the next time, the next podcast will be easier to do that. The time, the quality will be easier, the sound will be better, and the video quality will be better because I need to review my podcast. I need to see where I can improve, where I could sound better. How my voice sounds. Does it crack? Does it make a noise? Is it is the pauses too long or is the pauses too short? And how how to just use my hands and my face, and then just how to breathe and communicate and have a good flowy conversation that is sense, that makes sense, and that you convey an idea that people get because you verbally explaining it good for everyone to get. That is something super difficult and only a few people can ever master, and that's the journey that I'm now on, to just to convey an idea with your words. Like, this is what I want, this is what I'm asking for. So that is powerful, that is life changing, because your words have effect to change the world. With just asking, can you help me? Can you assist me? Will change your life and your family's life and your community's life, just by a simple communication of honesty, of communicating in an honest, open, truthful way. Like, can you assist me? With that, you will change your life and the people's life around you. That is something super special that I need to learn, and that I hopefully can show by to me learning. On the platform, you will see the improvement of my speaking, of my facial expressions, of my hand movement. You will see the quality of my videos improving. You will see the content just get better. And yeah, that's what but I have to start doing quantity, and then quality will follow. Yeah, so I think it's 30 minutes now, so I will end this podcast, and hopefully see not hopefully see you soon on the next podcast slash YouTube videos streaming. Yeah, okay then, bye.